1% a year. With this, because the economy in Scotland County has been growing, the tax base primarily due to the industrial side, our housing starts have not been significant to the county as a whole. But fortunately, we've had success in our business and industrial growth. So with that, we've had growth in our income, growth in the economy, growth in transactions, so sales and property taxes have increased. Those, along with the direct actions of the department heads, have allowed for reductions in the property taxes without reducing services. Also, in the same amount of time, not only have you decreased the tax burden on the average homeowner, you've added another ambulance on duty and giving us actually a fourth call response capability. The maternity clinic was brought back into the health department within their existing resources. DSS, social services, has improved their timeliness, which was a major push by USDA for across the state, improving their timeliness rating from an 80% to a 95%, which was a requirement to maintain funding. And also during this point in time, the tax office was still able to continue to improve its annual tax collection rate. So with all these other accomplishments, plus the additional activities such as growth in parks and recreation and other areas, the improvement of our county facilities, I think there's a definite benefit that can be seen on what the commissioners have done in the last 4 years. And not to mention, I know when I came on as county manager, the tax rate was $1.10, and if you go back that far, we've added law enforcement officers, we've added jailers, we've gone from where every county facility leaked to now most of the time our county facilities don't leak. So there's something that actually serve the citizens much better. And all of those are conscious efforts by this board. With these and looking at the changes, the board always sets budget goals, but then again, ultimately they come down to the way I summarize them, looking to minimize the tax burden on the citizens of Scotland County while continuing to provide the services to the community because county government provides those services which is necessary to maintain the social contract that we all have, and also treating people with respect and equity. It's just making sure that everybody who comes in and deals with the county is treated with some level of dignity across the board. And that's our goal, and that's the goal of every department head here. Now, with that, and ultimately after my last changes, we had a department head meeting last Tuesday, went back in and basically said, okay, here are your operating numbers. I know what your personnel is. I know what your capital items are going to be. Here's your operating items. Go back in and reallocate them. So they know exactly where they are. Coming back in and having discussion with the department heads, of course, we will make whichever budget work with those. But again, I'm going to recommend the budget that produces the tax burden $431,986. The big difference between the two options, if you're just looking at the numbers on the summaries, is real hard to see. But basically, it goes in and reduces the flexibility in the departments to deal with unforeseen circumstances. And also, it's slightly less conservative revenue estimates. With those, whatever we put in, because the question is going to be, is this going to be sustainable? if you go with the $647,000 cut, you have less flexibility, so if something happens, it's going to be harder to maintain. With this, it's still based on the assumption that we're going to continue with an approximate 1% growth in our economy. And at some point in time, we are going to hit another recession, and at that point in time, we are going to be in a situation where we are either going to have to offer less services or increase revenues. Now, that will be a decision that's going to be thrust on this board, but that will happen. So if you're going to ask me, are you ever going to recommend we increase taxes? I am going to have to say yes, assuming I'm here long enough, because at some point in time, this board is going to be in a situation where there are no other options. But with it, I guess, the other big difference of it, of course, it did concern the $637,000 decrease, $647,000 decrease. I did change revenue projections some, but also there is an increase of fund balance of $100,000 in there also. Because after that, we're starting to cut into operations where there were no way that some of the departments would be able to function with those. And some of the departments that would have areas where we're confident they're not going to spend all of its money, there are revenues attached to it, so cutting it doesn't necessarily do anything. So with that, my recommendation is the reduction of $431,000. So I recommend the $43,749,265.
The fund balance, how much of that are you going to use in each one?
The 43.7 is 1.6 million. The 43.6 million is 1.7. The large portion of that is for capital dollars. About 1.5 of that is capital. Vast majority of that, those are projects that will begin this year, will begin and will be completed this year. So we will use fund balance this year. That is.
We will still be within our
Yes, sir.
target.
Yes, sir. With that, we would still be above 20% on fund balance. So that is still within the,
18%.
yes, sir.
How
That
many,
is still exceeds your goal.
we haven't used fund balance in several years.
You have not.
I think that's important to be noted, that we have accomplished what we've been able to accomplish with that. But this is the first year, I think, in 4 years maybe that we have not used fund balance.
We've been adding to fund balance
Yeah.
for a number of years.
Number of
Yes.
years. Not only we don't take away, we're building it back up.
Correct.
All right, you've heard the presentation, and any discussion or any questions or whatever. Kevin?
Well, before we take action, I know on the agenda you did have the item of historic properties.
Yes. And that was, before y'all take any actions, because I know there was a request from the board to discuss its level of funding, which is currently at $18,000, and that's the continued level, and that is what is currently in the budget, because until y'all tell me to do otherwise, I am not going to change a continuing funding level.
Well, with that being said, I am here to advocate for that level to be increased to cover, it primarily will cover the cost of their audit. Even though their budget is very, very small, it doesn't, the audit's going to be the same price, whether you have a $10,000 budget or you have a $100,000 budget. They have to do the audit. So,
Some discussion going.
I think somebody,
We cannot hear. Everybody's got a microphone, but nobody's talking into it.
Okay.
If
Oh,
you
sorry.
could just talk into your microphone, we can't hear
Can you
back
hear me
there.
now?
It's just mumbling. Sorry, but
Oh,
I'm trying to hear.
We'll try to do that. Can you hear me?
Yeah, now,
Can you hear me now?
yes.
Can you hear
A
me?
little bit better. It's still not perfect, but it'll work.
Carol, what are you referring to? Certain properties budget, is that what you're talking about?
Yes.
The county's allocation of historic properties is $18,000 per year. We discussed this at our first budget meeting 6 weeks ago. And they have requested to go to 25. That will help cover the cost of their audit. They've not had an increase in a number of years.
Hold on a minute, Carol.
You still can't hear me?
I think it's number 2.
Yeah.
He's got it all the way up.
Is it on?
Is it on?
Get the, turn the light to green.
Not at all, see about it. I'm sure wax.
This is the first time we've met here, so we'll work out executive among y'all correctly.
Okay, I think this is better. Okay. At our budget meeting about 6 weeks ago, I presented a request from Historic Properties to increase funding from $18,000 to $25,000. That will help cover the cost of their annual audit, which is like $4,300. And of course, all their utilities and other expenses of operating those facilities have increased. And so that's for us to decide. I did ask Kevin if it could be included in either budget without making any, without harbor. That's the way I put it. So I'm just putting it forward to the other 6 members of the board to see if we can make that increase.
There's only $18,000 in the budget. What's in the budget?
Yeah, and the request would be for an additional $7,000.
We don't know what, 25, that's what I remember.
Need a motion? I move that we increase it from the 18 to 25, because the audit costs the same thing, no matter if it's $5,000 budget. And we can offset, they have to take $5,000 out of this 18 for non-repair, and they need to be able to do some repairs out there. So I offer a motion that we increase their budget from 18 to 25,000.
I'll second.
You've heard the motion, we have a second, any discussion? If not, all in favor of increasing the historic property budget from $18,000 to $25,000, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign.
Still on.
All right, is there anything else before we?
Mr. Chairman, you had asked if there was any comments. Kevin, you mentioned that one of the differences was $100,000 coming from fund balance, and the other was that in the 43.7 budget, that your revenue estimates were more generous.
Yes.
How in the past, your estimates, have they been pretty much on target?
In the past, most of our, they've been, our revenues have generally been on or exceeded the margins that we put in with our expenditures. So the revenue targets have been within 0.5% of our total revenues. Our controllable revenues have been within about 0.5%. We have some state revenues that are depending entirely on how money's passed through. But most of our revenue projections, like I say, are about 0.5%, and our expenditures are generally lower, but we account for those inside of our estimates.
In the revenue estimates for the larger tax decrease, are your estimates still within the same parameters as what you've done in the past, or is it, are you stretching the limit a little bit?
One of the big differences between the two is in the $400,000 reduction, did a 1% growth in sales tax. In the $600,000 reduction, I believe I did a 1.15% increase in our sales tax. So that's the largest area. Also looking at increases in interest revenues, which I think are reasonably safe. So the increase in the revenues that I'm doing do not give me any grief in choosing the different revenues.
The key value is around 215 now.
$215,000 approximately, 215.9.
Any more questions, Kevin?
I have a couple. It's actually a three-part, and I'll start with the easiest one first, maybe. What part of last year's, this year ending budget, is there any departments getting or didn't spend all their budget? Is there I don't know what the magic number is, but anything above 20,000 is coming back that hasn't been spent?
Most of the departments spend with around 96 to 98% of their budgets. So none of them spend at 100%.
Okay. I mean, that 2% is a pretty good number, so, I mean, I'm just trying to figure out where that comes back in at. Does that go back to the general fund at the end of the year?
That comes back into the general fund and the fund balance.
Gotcha, okay. That was curiosity more than anything else. The other thing is, and I'll talk about three parts here. We'll talk about the first budget that was submitted, which was, and I'll call it the $2 budget. The dollar budget, the 99-cent budget. And the biggest thing that stood out to me, and I think you've answered this, total expenditure on the dollar budget is actually $99,000 more than the $2 budget. But if I heard you right, that's including those positions and capital projects in there.
Yes, it
Okay,
does.
so that explains why that's in there. Same thing with the other one, it's actually $16,000 less. But I go back to what Commissioner Gibson was kind of saying on that, because that's a $531,000 swing on income for the dollar and a $631,000 swing on income for the 99. And I'm just wanting to make sure that you felt comfortable with that being the number. I mean, it's a lot of money, but it's not undoable.
Right.
Yeah.
And going down to that lowest budget amount of $43.6 million, that revenue number, that is at the end of my comfort level. That's as far as I would dare stretch revenue projections.
And that's 1.7 out of the fund for that, right?
Yes,
1.5 or 6?
1.7 out of 43.6, 1.6 out of 43.7.
$100,000.
All right.
That's it, that was my three-point.
Any more questions, Kevin? Are we ready to make a decision? Before we vote, I talked to Kevin a lot about this budget between 99 cents and $1. No one wants to see us below $1 any worse than I do, but I think that I would hate to see us go below to 99 cents this year and then have to go up more next year. For some reason, our gut tells me that we need to stay where we are. I don't think it would affect anybody a great deal. And when you look at it, we're cutting, I think numbers show, at $1, we're cutting $431,000, say $432,000 out of taxes. So just having said that, we'll entertain a motion to go with either the $1 or the 99 cents, whatever the pleasure of the board.
May I say something?
Yes, ma'am.
I'd like to say to the citizens of Sterling County that every one of the commissioners really wanted to bring the tax rate down to 99 or 98%. But we must keep the county functioning. You know, it was literally impossible at this particular time to go any further if you listen to the council. But I promise you that it will be our effort next year to bring it down to 99 cents. I know you say I'm tired of hearing that, but we will continue to fight for below $1. I promise you that.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
I want to offer a motion, but before I do so, again, I would like to thank the Republican Party for canceling their meeting, for coming to this meeting. I wish my party had done the same thing. It's just good. I don't like coming to meetings and there be 3 people out there and their staff. That's just not good for the county. And so again, thank y'all for coming. Mr. Chairman, and to the entire board, after I give this some serious thought, thank you, like Commissioner Goldston and the Chairman. After evaluation, we lost some money, and we have seen what that will look like next year. And we know the industry have grown a little, and sales have grown to about 1%, but I would like to see those two come together next year before I would recommend a decrease or an increase, definitely not an increase. So, Mr. Chairman, I would like to offer a motion that we keep our taxes at $1 for the next fiscal year.
I'll second that motion.
We have a motion and a second, and that would bring our budget to $43,749,265. Any more questions? If not, all in favor, let it know by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign.
Okay.
We're going to change that for the short property.
Right, we'll make that change. The,
Board of discussion now, unless there's anything else on that.
nothing else on the budget. Next item was, it's on the original budget agenda that was sent out, was the transfer of Covington Street School. We'll actually do that probably in October. I made a mistake, just trying to figure out which property we need to move where. This is actually authorizing the transfer of the Morgan Center to Richmond Community College.
Not the whole thing, half of it, right?
The whole thing.
So
They'll own the,
ownership of the
they'll,
whole thing.
yes, sir. They'll own the building that I'm in.
But you got a lease agreement on it.
We'll have an agreement on there. If they try to kick me out, we'll just not pay the power bill.
So, the early college will be at Covington Street in August. The early college is going to Covington Street in August. Does this complicate that by not transferring it to August?
No. This is the Morgan Center, so this is going to be transferred over. The renovations will be pushed, the transfer of early college to Covington Street School till after August. But they are looking to move in midterm in October. That's why we're going to, talking about transferring the school in October. But this is the Morgan Center, which the community college is going to pay us $600,000 for, which are the bond proceeds that they got to renovate the building, but they could not renovate the property with the bond proceeds, but they can buy the building with the bond proceeds. So that's why we are going to sell them the Morgan Center for $600,000.
That doesn't show as revenue, right, on our,
That is actually revenue in a special projects fund.
that's good.
So that $600,000 is already in a capital projects fund
Okay.
that is outside.
I just didn't want to mix it with this 297 revenue.
Yes, sir. No, sir.
That has to do with Tim's bond.
Okay. Yeah, I just want to make sure I understand that.
No, sir. We just need a motion to transfer the property.
No,
Second.
Have a motion and a second to transfer the Edwin Morgan Center to the Richmond Community College. All in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Number 4,
Yes, sir.
are you going to skip that for the time being?
Okay, that might be different work. Okay, well, the transfer of the water system, we've been in conversation with the city of Laurinburg for some time now. We find, city council has agreed to formally go into conversations on the staff level, where basically we look to the county water system transfer operating control to the city so they can put it under their permit. And basically, it would effectively be the the city's system, which has been a goal that we've been working at for a number of years. We've matched rates, we've matched operations, and the city already operates our system as they effectively have pretty much since it was after it was turned on. We've maintained some expansions, things like that, but at this point in time, we have a full build out on the system. The city is interested in just maintaining it under a single system. It would improve efficiencies, and actually it would also allow us to reduce the testing requirements on the systems if we consolidate them into a single system. Right now, we actually have 5 systems. If we consolidate them with the city, because the city connects with each of those systems, it would be one system. And the primary reason to do this is the amount of testing that we have to do.
That's a tremendous cost saving.
It is. Yes, sir.
Any more discussion about that? Okay, we'll go down to the approval of foreclosed property.
The next item, you have a bid on a property in Gibson for $7,071.40 on Monterey Street in Gibson. This is a bid that would be under the upset bid process. So if the board would approve it, we will begin advertisement and bring it back to you. It would actually be at the at the August board meeting, just because of the bid requirement.
I move that we accept the bid.
We have a motion that we accept the bid of $7,071.40 from a former landowner, which is a part of our policy. I need a second.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? If not, all in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Appointment to this board. Everybody need a microphone?
Tonight we have 3 different appointments to different boards. The first that you have in front of you is to the Tourism Development Authority, 1 position, and we have received an application from Jennifer McCray. So I will submit her name to nomination to be appointed to DDA.
Second.
A motion and a second that we appoint Jennifer Gray to the Tourism Development Authority. All in favor, let it be known by saying aye. Opposed, like sign.
Our second board is the Little River Workforce Development Board. There are two positions. Commissioner John Alford currently serves on that board, as does President Dale McKinnon from RCC. They have both agreed to be reappointed, so I submit their names to be reappointed to the Little River Workforce Development Board.
Heard the motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, let it be known by saying aye. Opposed, like sign.
And again, just remind all of our citizens that there are meetings, we have up to close to 20 different boards in Scotland, Canada, they're all listed on our website. And the way to really be engaged in your community, citizen engagement is what makes us strong. So if you have the time and the interest, I encourage you to take a look at that. If you want to have further conversation, you can certainly, I'm pretty accessible. If you want to talk more about board appointments, please feel free to contact me.
All right, the next item is the easement for the water and sewer for the new school. I'll ask our county attorney to discuss that.
Thank you for bringing me forward and microphone, Mr. Chairman. My request to the board tonight is simply a motion that will allow me to proceed with the exercise of eminent domain on a tract to acquire an easement of approximately 1 acre out of a 5.5 acre tract out in the new school. The purpose of the easement would be to provide water and sewer services to the school. I would present a formal resolution for consideration at the regular meeting next Monday night, but if we pass this motion tonight, it would allow me to send a notice of action to the landowner. The significance of the notice of action is that it triggers a 30-day period that would have to run before we can formally file a condemnation proceeding to require that easement.
Heard from the county attorney. Any questions for him?
I'm assuming this is the one we discussed.
Right.
Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
We discussed it at our last meeting. Need a motion to authorize the county attorney to move ahead with this.
So moved. Second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. You're welcome, sir. Before we entertain a motion to adjourn, I would just like to thank our county manager and all the staff for the hard work they have devoted to this budget and to the diligence of this board of commissioners for their diligence in looking at this budget, working with the county manager and staff to approve their work for us. Tim, do you have any comments? Anything you'd like to say?
Kelly, I do make a quick comment, of course you can't comment on it, right?
I'm sorry with you.
Well, you know, I'd be the first one to stand here and vote tonight for a 99-cent rate. But I said this a couple of meetings ago, and I'll say it again, there's an inherent problem in coming down too fast, and you don't believe that ask Richmond County. And so I would, while we're on that line right now, probably on us do it, I would rather err on the side, because the last thing I want to do is come back next year and say we've got to go up pretty soon because we blew the budget out. So, that's all.
Thank you. Mr. Alford? Ms. Day?
I'd like to see, the gentleman called me today and asked me about speaking to the board meeting. I mistakenly told him he could speak tonight, and I want to tell him he can sign up to speak next Monday night at our regular meeting. I'm sorry, I misinformed you. I don't see him now, but if he's still here, I want to tell him he can sign up to speak next Monday night at our regular board meeting.
He talked to Jason already.
He did? Okay, all right.
Ms. Gibson?
And I just echo the same as Tim said, I think it's prudent to stay where we are. I think all of us would like to see us go down below that magic $1 figure. I'm okay with where we are.
When you look at $431,000, that's not big enough.
I do have one. I'm going to reiterate that I'm glad all of y'all are here and remind everyone that when we meet next Monday, this is now our formal meeting place for the Scotland County Board of Commissioners. We have our own meeting space, and going forward, when you want to come to the commission meeting, this is where we'll be.
If there's nothing else, I'll entertain it.
Got a question?
Yes. I tried to ask one when you were talking about the taxes, and you were looking at me, but you just bypassed it. I would like to know if by any chance there's any discounts for seniors with the taxes. And if there isn't, why isn't there? They've worked hard all their lives. They shouldn't be made to pay the same amount. They should have something of a discount. Many, many states do this. You go to Dunkin' Donuts and you get a discount because you're a senior.
There are, that's good.
I don't understand if there isn't, and I'd like a clarified answer to that question.
There is, but it's controlled by statute, and there's income, a lot of restrictions on it. If you're interested in speak to Mary Helen, she can explain to you what you have to do to be eligible for senior.
I thought with other states, it was just that when you were a senior, it was automatic. It didn't matter with income or anything.
Now, it has to do, income is tied to it, I don't know exactly how, that's why I say Mary was going to him.
Okay,
To tell you what the
okay.
requirements would be. It is controlled by income.
They do deserve a break.
Is that right, Mary Helen?
That's correct.
Okay.
I'm voting for that, myself.
There's not
Thank
too
you very
many
much.
sitting around here that's not senior citizens, so we're all in the same boat. Anyway, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor, let it know by saying aye. Again, thank all of y'all for coming.
Yeah, I don't know why that.
Hey.
Yes, sir.
What state law?
Because
I know, there's two breaks.
Yeah.
So they do have.
Hold it down.
I have already ripped that all the